I'll be right with you in a second, folks. About the chat, so I can actually see what people are typing. Alexandra, Byron, hey, you're up late, Byron. Wes, Miles, Six Skills, hey, Paul. You're at the start of the stream this time instead of at the end of it like you were in the previous one. Well, that's a much better position to be in with the streams. Nothing quite so disappointing as arriving to a live stream just as it ends. I remember when I used to watch Lewis's streams on a near religious basis, it would pain me considerably to miss out on them. 3476, I'm not quite sure, probably. You seem to be more on the go with that than I am. Let's see, kind of helps if I turn the power on. Let's see what we get. 8 milliamps? Seriously? Nothing? No chipmunk. 8 milliamps. Let's try it the other way around. Ooh. Okay. That one's very dead. Let's see what the hell's going on here. Oh, get the data out first. It is quite late here. I should probably not be streaming at this hour, but Monday tomorrow, got to get some things done. Can't be lazy all my life. Just seeing if I can spot anything distinct. So is that fuse blown? $47 ohms on a... Oh, no, that's not a fuse. That's... It looks like a fuse from a distance, but that's actually the 342 feeder. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's just that they, in this particular model, or some of these boards, they've used a green tinted resistor. And on first glances you think it's a fuse, and you go test it, and you go, whoa, it's over the value I would expect. It's a zombie fuse, but it's not. It's just a pretty resistor. Hey, Toast Tech. Oh well, we'll just continue to disassemble this. I see that Phil the coder managed to get the batteries transferred, and apparently he's getting charge current now with his battery. That was between a 1708 and whatever it was that he was working on. So it's interesting details. Good when someone else does that kind of experimentation and not me. I do my own kind of experimentation. I get into trouble with it a few times. Hey Greg. Hey Harold. Messiah. Always getting your name wrong, I apologize. Oops. I'm trying not to go too quickly on this one, just take it easy, be calm, don't rush, don't create a snafu. If you're not sure what a snafu is, I'm sure someone else in the chat will tell you what snafu stands for. I can't read the number. Hey Denny. Remember, of course, we do not take the board side screw out of these fans. we take the fan out with the board. Am I done? I feel like I always forget something. What? For some reason that's stuck. I don't know, is it stuck or am I just losing my memory? No, that's... Oh, there we go. It was just ever so slightly latched under the chassis. You gotta be careful with these things. You can't just go, oh well, I'll add more force and see what happens. I mean, you can do that, but it doesn't usually end well. Hey Teresa, Gossam, what tool are you talking about? Well, I gotta say, there's nothing blatant on that board, so we're gonna have to go under the microscope. Yeah, that's right, Miles. It's like one of those crisis moments. It's like, which way do I go? So we're going to be on the lookout for, say, an exploded cap somewhere major, or I just don't know. Or maybe SMC is dead. Although, yeah. Once I've had a visual, I'll plug it in again and measure voltages such as 342 and PP bus, just to get an idea. But I like to do a visual inspection before doing that, just in case you got something that's burning away. And this is indeed 3476. Oh, feeler gauge. Oh my, yes. I don't know where my stack is, but it's around here somewhere. And yeah, I do have a set of feeler gauges here that I use for various purposes. None of which are motor related. I mean, I used to use them when I was repairing my motorbikes. And with the cars, funnily enough, I rarely used feeler gauges with cars. Especially the ones that were screw and lock nut tappet type overhead tappets. A 1972 Ford Escort 1300 engine. You sort of tune that by ear. So or maybe is that a crack or a scratch? It's probably just a scratch. It's not really something that would be causing this issue. Oh right, Gossam. All I ended up doing was just cutting a suitable feeler gauge. I think it was a 5 thou. Hello, Bug. What are you doing here, Bug? This is not the time for you. We discussed this last week in the meeting. Well, there's clearly some bugs in this computer. And it's not even running my software. Oop, and he is out of here. He's probably gone to fly off to New York to annoy Lewis. Oh no, no, there he goes. He's checking for me. Alright, let's plug the MagSafe in. Let's do some voltage. Actually, I'll do some resistance checks first. Let's see what PP bus is sitting at. Have you ever done any repairs on Mac trackpad itself? I have repaired a couple of trackpads. Generally I don't do it too much because they seem to always have issues afterwards still. Okay, interesting, we're actually reading open. Alright. Yeah, that's what I thought was the fuse, but that's actually the 4.7 ohm resistor, and that's the 10 ohm resistor that feed the 342 regulator. Now, since PP bus isn't shorted out, we're just going to plug it in and see what goes. Voltage. Let's see what's floating around. What? You don't make any sense. Six volts? What the flip? 8 volts. Okay, this is really weird. 8.2 volts there. That is almost like it's a zombie fuse. Let's get a resistance across that fuse. Nope. Not a zombie fuse. Well, that's very peculiar. So now, typically... Okay, I think I know why that's happening. We're drawing so little current that the resistance of the fuse is... no, that makes no sense at all. That really makes no freaking sense at all. That's actually quite unusual. Unless maybe there's something problem with my multimeter. 47 ohms. I always thought that was meant to be 4.7. 10 ohms. I always thought that was meant to be 4.7, not 47. Let's go to the schematics in the board view. Oh no, yeah, it's 47. Yeah, for some reason in my head I've always thinking it's 4.7. I should have known. It says 470, which means 47 ohms. Alright, so if we're not getting... It's just interesting, we get that voltage drop across here. That is completely confounding. That's a no stuff, so I can't play. We could have issues over here. We could have a problem with our isolation Zener diode. So if this Zener diode is messed up, then it will basically chop the voltage down to whatever it is. Mind you, 6.8, that's about right. Hey Coda, welcome. I've genuinely got this is a thinking one. Not a big fan of the thinking ones. They take too long. Yeah, sure thing, Coda. Go ahead and ask. By the way, did you manage to get your Flexboard view installed? I'm sure Paul Howell would be asking that very shortly. Making sure that you obtain value for money. Okay, I'm just going to go back and do some voltage checks. Believe me, it's very unusual to... Hey, that's weird. Now we're at 18 volts there. Maybe I just wasn't plugged in right. 18 volts. Oh, coming out of here. 18. Maybe it was just the MagSafe wasn't sitting in properly. Turning on 59 is charging at 3 amps, staying on, etc., but still lagging. Replacing the trackpad cable, no change. Touch bar doesn't show when I boot. Sometimes it does show during boot, sometimes it does not. But yeah, the touch bar is its own thing in the sense of sometimes, depending on how the person's configured it or what state things are in, it'll either show up or it won't. If you can get it to boot, then run the hardware sensors program and see if... Okay, so we've got 344. Yeah, run the hardware sensors program and see if anything shows up out of the ordinary. Okay, let's check PV bus down here. This is actually the system fuse. Okay, so okay, the SMC is not turning on. So basically that's what we've discovered now. So we have 1227, so our SMC is not turning on. Now that could either be because the... Hello, goddamn bugs back. Could be something wrong with the ISL. It could be something wrong with the SMC. Usually, in these situations, you try and go for the ISL first because it's much simpler to replace. It has no OS at the moment, lagging too much to get past the Wi-Fi internet, but oh jeez. If you're lagging, I would say the trackpad could be faulty. Was it a water damaged one? Because if it was a water damage, you probably got a faulty trackpad, and that's why it's doing that. Or a faulty water damaged keyboard. That would be my first sort of things. This is where it helps to have a known working chassis, of course, which we can't all buy. Hell, I can't even buy working chassis for everything yet, as much as I want to. So I want a resistance mode here. Okay, when you start finding board views and schematics for other things, other MacBooks or other PC stuff, then it's pretty good. 3.8, that's fine. 20 is fine. You know it's not going to be this. Okay, we're going to have to start looking for signals like SMC, ACOK out of the... Yeah, we're just going to have to start checking these signals, see if we've got some idea as to who is going to be the culprit. I don't know why I was looking around for U7100, because it's already there on the schematic, buddy. There's a test point above the two resistors, just above there. And then we find out, we go, what two resistors? The bastards are rotated, are they? Oh no, there they are. Ha! I think that's the test point. And yep, like a genius, I'm measuring in resistance when I should be measuring voltage. That's entirely normal for me. Okay, SMC ACOK is fine, so basically the ISL is saying, yep, we're reading in a good voltage, so you can proceed to go. So the next thing we need is see if SMC is being told to turn on, or rather being held down. SMC reset low. And okay, so it's resistor or test pad. Take your pick, full resistor or test pad. Personally, I'm more partial to test pads, and it's going to be this one here. Okay, SMC is actually fine. It's not being held in reset mode. Crap on a cracker. At this stage, the implication is that it's the SMC at fault. It's not really what I wanted, because the ISL appears to be saying all the right things so far, but the SMC is just going la 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 la, I don't want to hear about it. I'm just trying to see if I can find some kind of damage, because normally you get at least a bit of liquid damage or something, but this one's not a nix. It's just dead. What I will check first is see that the ISL lines are balanced or not. Ach, niemand. PDF favorites. Oh, I haven't got any favorites on this one. Oh, that just sucks. Let's go to page 1. Let's set the thing to width. I'm looking for the... there's a page on here that defines all the I2C bus bits and pieces. You'll recognize it when I get to it. There it goes. There we go. This one here. Very handy page. Alright, so create. And this is going to be I2C lines. Okay. So in future, like if I'm at some other random page, I can just go click on that and it will take me to where I want to be. Okay, so what we are looking for is to see these two here. We want these two lines, the clock and data line, we need to see if they're the same. So the easiest thing to do is, so 5381 and 5380, so it's those two there. By the way, those little markings on the resistor, the little like looks like faults on them or whatever. That's not faults, that is from the laser trimming. So we'll go to diode mode for this particular process. So we want something around about 0.5, 0.6 typically. Okay, 0.52. Yeah, there we go, there's our problem. See that? Oh no, bugger. Well, I just had to open my mouth and prove myself wrong. Seem to do that on a very regular basis. 515 versus 511. That's within tolerance. The other thing I can do is I will power it up again and see if I get voltage along this line here. Yes, I have a habit of writing a lot of software. I've got a very bad habit of not invented here syndrome. Okay, we do indeed have 344. I'm just going to check the sus line. Yeah, the question is, which sus line will I want? Make sure you get one VO5, get version 1410, R1410. I need to just disable all the other ones. There's no point in them. Hey Jaden. Oh well, let's go PCH, yeah. Coda would love it if I did PCH. Now, I will put in a disclaimer right now that under normal circumstances, this is not my typical route to take. I'm very disinclined to replace parts that do not have what appears to be visual damage on them. Like a perfectly good looking SMC, I find that exceptionally hard to replace. Simply because of the fact that with the majority of these situations, it's almost always some sort of liquid damage somewhere that's invoked the fault. And so just through conditioning, it's very contrary to what I consider to be appropriate debugging, troubleshooting. So I'm going to put a little extra effort into just checking to make sure I haven't missed something, because you know I'm going to have missed something. And just feel it. I'm going to do that whole SMC replacement, and it's going to be like, nope, wasn't that. Try again. And I'm like, damn you. Not that I find SMC's replacements to be a pain, but yeah. Damn it. You know what, actually, I'm being a bit stupid here. I should really check that I am getting, oops, all the appropriate signaling for the MagSafe. What is it? U69. Huh? Yeah, I should check this section here of the one-wire circuit just in case I'm being truly dumb. It's 1502. Yes, Lewis, a 3476. Good job, sir. No, I'm just making sure I don't do something dumb before I go and replace this SMC. Now, of course, now that Lewis is here, you know, I'm basically just going to do dumb things. It's just inevitable. He shows up, dumb things happen. Anyway. Like I said, I don't like to replace stuff that looks visually perfect. Sometimes you have to, but I prefer not to. By the way, Lewis, what the hell's going on with your... did you deliberately turn off part fill or pad fill on your flex board view? Because I saw the other day, like, your parts were not filled in like that. It was like you had done... pin fill? Yeah, it's like you'd turned off pin fill. And now your stuff looks like complete crap when I'm looking at it. So like... So your board view, it's got all these open things. It should be pin fill. It should look like that. Choose your theme of liking, of course. Have a go, microscope. Anyway, I need to get back to testing things here to make sure I am getting everything that I want. U7001 pins 2 and 1. Okay, so these two, what do we got on here? Yep, we do have SMC BCAC okay. And we do have our 340. That's all okay. And that's okay. But basically I can't blame it. I have to go for the SMC. Anyway, well Lewis, if you want to stick around you can watch an SMC replacement. If your life is that unfulfilled, you can see how professional does it. Using balls. Plus we'll keep the SMC aside just in case it's not faulty. Mind you, it's not like there's a lot of uses for these SMCs too much anymore. Don't get them too often. Harold, I very rarely encounter this model, so most of the 1502s I'm getting now, they're all the 2015 model. It's pretty unusual to get the older versions. Goddamn Atten button got me again. That button's always getting me. I think Lewis has run off to practice Type Racer. He likes to ensure that he's always the best at least something like that. I mean, there's no denying he's incredibly fast typing. If he was a programmer, he'd be able to write at least 50 times more bugs than I could in an hour. Come on, beep. Just getting some wick those pads, make them nice, ready for the new SMC, and then I can put the board aside. It's a bit too much flux there. We'll just sop it up with the flux, the wick. Alright, that's one nicely prepared SMC surface. And we go and find ourselves another one. Hope and pray that we have another one. There's 1502 boards under here somewhere. There we go. Yep, no SMC. 3476. Shit, no SMC. I've done myself a doozy here. This might be one. I'll have to. I can't read the number on. There we go. 3476 with an SMC that only looks partially destroyed. Another missing one. Looks like a dead board face. That's a 4924, I'm almost certain. Oh no, it's not. It doesn't have the shield over the RAM. That one looks like it's already had the SMC. Burned up traces inside of... Oh, yeah. Burned up traces. Tempting. Alright, we've got 3 to pick from. Yeah, it might be okay. That's a big might be. Oh, the 3476. The CPU is dead. Big sad face. Yeah, we'll try that one. Hey Gossam, well, they pretty much look after themselves, so it's not really... I'm not one that can be thanked for it. They're the ones that brought themselves along, and thankfully they've behaved enough and haven't embarrassed me too much today. Since this is a dead CPU, there's a reasonable chance that the SMC might actually be okay. I did say reasonable and I did say might. So don't hold me to it. Oh yeah. I was going to say that that edge bonding's coming up real quick and I realise I'm running at 470. So we'll just drop back to the wholesome 250. Yeah, man. I don't know how people can work on MacBooks without using a Barlow. Like, I mean, I use a 0.7. Agreeably, I couldn't use a 0.5 Barlow. I feel like I'd have to be a giraffe to use a 0.5. But no Barlow, I don't know how you can work under it because it's... You basically can't see a damn thing. You're crammed under there. You'd have to develop unnatural body shapes to be able to get all your tools in here. I know some people like... I can understand for iPhones, but for MacBooks, yeah. Alright, let's get this SMC off so that we can get it reballed and we can try our luck and see if that is actually our fault or whether it was something blatantly obvious that we missed on the diagnosis of the board. Of course, being a Sunday night, past midnight, it's most likely going to be the latter. Alright, this one's taking its sweet time coming off. There we go. It's a little messy. Alright, now I've got to find my SMC holding tool. It's very sad to me that I've had my CNC router now for, I don't know, probably a month. And I still haven't even cut the first chips, let alone made a nice replacement tool for this particular job. if I was a competent person who managed their time appropriately, I probably would have already, like kind of like Tim Herman or someone, I probably would have already been putting these tools into manufacturing and taking over the world. But I'm not. Maybe I'll get Tim to do it for me. How do I get diagnostic software up for sensors, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, not on the 2159 as far as I know. You can try, what is it, the D button? We actually can't use this SMC. It's no good. This SMC, it may work short term, but it's not going to work long term. You can see this sort of weird semi-reflective effect going on in this area. That means something has delaminated that section, so yeah, that's no good. That goes in the bin. So we have to get another one now. That sucks. $35, $36. You know, you could probably, I don't know, you might be able to use $35, $36, but I'm not going to put my money on it. God damn it, $49.24. Goddamn, not 35, 36. Then again, maybe it was the same one. $34.76. Looks like we're back to the original one. Like I said, you can get away with those sometimes, like if you absolutely had to, but I can't imagine any reason why you'd absolutely have to. But more often than not, those ones will come back as failed soon enough. So I suppose if you're a mall kiosk type repair shop, you could probably do that. But if you actually want to have a genuine reputation, probably not a good idea. Hey, Micromage. 35, 36, 34, 76 can be swapped. Okay, good to know. Good to know. If this one's no good, we'll go back to that one. Just wasn't 100% sure. Yeah, it can be sometimes like I guess it's sort of like the 11-inch versus the 13-inch SMCs for the respective years on the A1466s. Smells like burning rubber down here. Oh, thanks Miles. I'll actually have to try and remember to put that into... No, that's no good. That's delaminated too. See that spot there? I think I'll wash it first, but I'm fairly sure that's delaminated. If we're lucky, it was just a bobble of old flux or something. Oh no, that's severely delaminated. It wasn't a crack, it was more of a scratch. But I know what you're talking about on the other side. It wasn't a crack. But yeah, you can see in the middle of that SMC how things look really not 100% healthy. So yeah, another one in the bin. This is why donors from AliExpress are basically these days a waste of money. Sorry folks. Okay, so we're at the 3536. We're going to test that supposed compatibility. Oh, good luck with that, coder. Good luck with that. Let us know how it goes. Well, you can buy replacement SMCs, but yeah, they lack the programming. What would be nice is if you could find a way to program them with, or at least get the system to boot without the SMC, and then reinstall the OS or whatever and have the reinstallation put the appropriate firmware in there. Because if you do try to read the SMCs, I believe they will erase themselves. Don't quote me on that, that's just what I believe happens to them. Because I don't doubt that some people have tried to, hook up a chip reader onto the various Mossy Miso clock pins, only to find that the chip capitulates itself. Alright, let's hope this third one's a working one. I'm kind of getting sick of dead ones. I mean, like I said, they're probably not dead, but they're going to become dead in a shorter time than what I'm willing to accept. Windows Millennium Edition. Okay, Murad, okay, so they're just locked out. Alright. When I originally heard about it, people were saying that they killed the chip. But it's good to hear that at least it's only a lockout. And I know I shouldn't say only a lockout, but yeah, it's better than actually destroying the data on the chip. That one actually looks pretty good so far. Shouldn't take this damn long just to get a chip before I even get to start reballing it. Yes, that's right. We do, Pionov, you're quite right. In order for repairs to be successful, for people to utilize such things, it needs to be easy. I mean, it's just like with the reflashing of the 3437s to the 165 unless it's... Why am I using the micro pencil? Unless it's a case of plug a USB stick in that boots and then it does it all for you like magic, then yeah, it's pretty hard to... I know it's not easy to do that. I mean, it takes time in order to be able to construct a toolkit that's that easy. Alright, this one does actually look good. Yeah, there's no internal delaminations. It's looking healthy. Now we've got to clear up all this gnarly flux. There's a lot of flux down there, and we don't want that, because as we reflow the chip, or I shouldn't say reflow, as we bring the chip up to temperature where the balls are going to do their job, that flux will also suddenly make an appearance that's unwanted, and it will make the stencil jump around, and it'll make everything just pop and bubble, and you'll end up with inappropriate situations. Yeah, that's good. Now I've got to wash the chip with my fingers. Tony, I'm not really sure what causes the delamination. Sometimes it looks like it's liquid ingress, and sometimes it looks like it's from thermal overload. Maybe it's both. Yeah, maybe both causes do happen. All I know is that if I see it on there, I basically immediately discard the chip. I guess because it sort of got to the point where I would notice those sort of weird patterns, and I would then notice that I would have a moderately high failure rate on any replacement that had those patterns prior. It wasn't 100% failure rate, no, but it was high enough that I started to notice. Don't you fly off there. Alright. Now I've got to find a stencil. Fortunately, I've got a few. Is that a crack in the chip? I doubt it. No, it looks like scratches to me. They're all scratches. Just use some compressed air to clear out this stencil. I do love my little compressed air station. Very nice device. Cheap too. That was the most important thing. Cheap and did the job. Alright. So have I got enough .35s left? Oh yeah, we've got just enough. Alright, next step. Flood it with IPA. Next step, pour on an appropriate number of spheres. That's too many, but it's kind of better to go a few too many and brush them off than it is to have not enough and have to reapply them. And yeah, it just sort of seems to cause more troubles if you have to reapply. And we got one that did not go in. Everything else looks good. Okay, so now here we go, nice and slow. This is 250 and 60% air, I think. And it's just going to be a very slow process, bringing everything up to temperature. What we're waiting for is you'll see that they will start developing a matte finish. And when they start developing that matte kind of finish look on them rather than the shininess, that's when I know I'm getting pretty much up to the temperature I want for the whole assembly. They're actually moving around surprisingly more than I expect. They're getting close, here they go. Now, so this is normally the point that you would expect that they would start melting. And I didn't get it up to enough temperature. I know I didn't because I dragged a couple out. That's okay. Looks like I dragged one out. I should have waited a little bit longer. That's alright. Now that flux that I've put on there, it has wicked across the entire chip. I didn't have to actually smear it everywhere because everything was hot enough, or just hot enough, but not quite hot enough. It wicked, but yeah, I'm gonna have some fun here. I needed to wait about another 10 seconds and it would have been good. I put the flux on just a bit too soon and it's now too thick. So that's why we're getting a lot of this protrusion jumping out going on. Whereas when you get it at the right temperature, the flux is a perfectly thin layer. I'm going to try my luck here, otherwise I'm just going to have to redo it again. There we go, they're all down. These are definitely 0.35s. Alright, so that's all good. We'll just lift it up and separate the stencil away from the chip. It's looking like they're all in place. We'll find out when we separate it. Yep, they're all perfect. A few too many, we poured on a few too many there, but that's okay. Right. Just going to put a little bit of flux on there. Hit it with some heat. Make sure they've all centered in. And then we can transfer it to the board. Well, thank you, Miles. I'm not used to getting that kind of compliment from the same gender. Okay, Murata. Sorry, Murto? Murto. I'll see you when you get back next time. Now I'm just gonna double check on the board view. So we have pin 1 up here towards the BIOS. And we have pin 1 here towards the BIOS. So that's good. See you, Harold. Have a good lunch, eh? Now I do fear I've got a bit of a pro-Rossmann situation here, whereby I've just simply got too much flux on the board. So this may give me a little grief. It's slightly out of alignment, but that's actually not a bad thing when it comes to this sort of job. The reason being is that by having a slight misalignment, when it reflows, it will let you know. Whereas if you do it perfect, you actually don't know when the reflows always happen. There we go. See how it pulled itself into place? Of course, you know, there is a limit to how far you can put it out. You know what we're probably going to find? We're probably going to find that that filter there is broken. Hey, Steve K. If this doesn't beep, I'm going to laugh. It beeped. Thank goodness for that. Hey, Steve K. Or did I already say hello, Steve K? Can't remember now. Hello, Steve K. It's still a little bit warm. Let's give it a moment. Hey, Gadgets Clink. Oh, crikey. 1 o'clock in the morning. My goodness, I'm giving up 7 days to die for this. Oh, that's right. I'm making money out of this, probably. Fingers crossed that we didn't just waste an hour. Oh, yep, we're up. Come on. Give me a blink. We need the green blink. Blink, damn it. Yes! Alright, wasn't a waste of an hour. And I get to rub it in the face of those who questioned my choice of diagnostic outcome. Honestly, I think sometimes people do that just to get a rise out of me, to make me rage. Hey, Tom George, 2 weeks out of COVID isolation. Oh my, what did you do for 2 weeks? That's always tricky. Hey, Booted Tech, good evening. Okay, so we have success. I guess we should really plug it back into the chassis just to make sure. The other problem, this should run with MRI. I'll see if MRI works on it. If Pilnov is still around, he'll correct me otherwise. Like if it is not able to run with MRI. Or the MRI itself will say, I'm sorry, Paul, I cannot allow this. And it will lock me out of the airlock. So, a week in isolation, tried to watch videos. First 3 days, gave up after 50 minutes, so sat back in the recliner and snoozed. Well, that's one hell of a way to catch up with lost sleep. I am only just now starting to get back to the point where I can sleep for more than, say, 5 or 6 hours. For the last 3-4 years, I have been dogged with the inability to sleep more than perhaps 2-hour blocks, typically 2-hour blocks. And it was certainly becoming an issue. I was very worried about it, affecting health, which you can imagine it would. And it's only been the last sort of couple of months, or even, a couple of months, that I've finally found that am starting to stay asleep until an appropriate time in the morning. I mean, I may still wake up once in the night. Often that's because one of the fur kids will tap at my foot. But in terms of myself staying asleep, it seems to finally be happening. It's very nice to have that return. Yeah, I thought that'd be the case, Pilnov, but I thought I'd voice that out there just in case you knew of it being an exception or otherwise. Okay, hold down the option key. Yeah, Paul, it really does suck. It drains the life out of you. I know, I very much understand how it is. And like I said, it was certainly messing with my mental state. But now I find I mean, back then it'd be like wake up after 2 hours, flip-flop for about half an hour, maybe an hour, get up, have a shower again, just stand in the shower for 20 minutes, go eat something, try to go back to sleep. It's maddening. Buddha Tech doesn't have a sleep pattern. I know some people have a sleep pattern that's probably closer to living on Mars, where they progressively seem to need a little more, they creep forward constantly. Insomnia is certainly not a good thing. I can understand there are a couple of people I know who distinctly seem to only need 4 hours of sleep, maybe 5. Now, I don't know whether that's just for the time I knew them, or whether it was a biological thing that they only need the 4 hours. I have heard reports of some people being perfectly fine on living with 4-hour sleep pattern, but I am more of the 7 to 8 type person. I used to have I have to use ASMR low music, whispering small tapping sounds with a laptop. Okay, interesting, Ed. The tapping would drive me insane, but I guess each person has their own thing that they find. I mean, I understand age also plays a part in it. Usually as you get older, you tend to need less sleep. Probably because your body's going, stuff it, we can't heal you well enough anymore, so we're gonna not bother. I still have to make sure I don't go to bed at 3. If I go to bed at 3 o'clock, it does mess me up the next day. But 2 o'clock, is fine. Okay, so it's complaining about the disk drive, but that is to be expected, given that it has not got a disk drive installed. Everything else appears fine, it is still functioning, so it looks like we've got a win here. Fantastic. So shut this down, and I'm going to plug in my test disk, because I want to see if I can change the brightness, and I'm also testing the both the SD slot and the USB slot. Cut that out, let's bring it up again. Life's too short to sleep. I often feel that way, yes. Okay, I think I might have shut that down prematurely. Okay, we're definitely off now. Bringing it on. Yep, here we go. Right, that's better. I think what happened is I pulled the stick out too soon and it hadn't actually finished shutting down. B-Dog, I think a lot of us end up in similar sort of scenarios where we find for the integrity of our sanity and health we have to do such things. At some point you just find that you either got to go super king or compromise. Interesting, I'm actually pulling a cold sweat here at the moment, not sure why. This is taking a little longer than I would expect to boot. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, it's booting, but it is taking a little longer than I would anticipate. Okay, it's reporting the battery at 1%, that'll be why. Funnily enough, Wes, with the memory foam mattresses, I find them very frustrating. I do not like them. Personally, obviously, yes, some people do love them, but I find them to be exceptionally frustrating to sleep on. Okay, so the SD is working. Maybe it's because I've been working on the newer machines a lot lately, but seeing such a thick border around the screen, the bezel, seems abnormal. Okay, this is an original keyboard. I find you can't do this with replacement keyboards. Okay, that works. You can't do the drag across, at least not as easily. You tend to snag on the keys. Okay, FaceTime is working. It's good. Yeah, Steve Cave, a bit like that. Titanium, it could have been that. It might have been maybe the stick was speakers are working fine. Maybe the stick had got shut down incorrectly before. Might have been when I forced it shut. Okay, we're up to 2% on the battery now, so the battery is okay. It probably will take a few more percent before the performance comes back though, but we'll still run it. Well, we're over 30 frames per second on values, so that's pretty good. 45 just then. And this is a 2.6i5 8 gig mid 2014. Okay, so this is probably about the last model the MRI works on. Temperatures are coming up good. Fan speeds following. Yep. Alright, well this is all good. So I can mark this one up as being fixed. Ended up being a dead SMC for whatever reason. It's always a little bit of a concern when you're not too sure why an SMC would just drop dead like that. Particularly given that the board seemed perfectly clear. You worry because you wonder, well, what if it happens again? Maybe it wasn't electrically faulty, maybe it was just something happened to the firmware in it. Not sure, really don't know. Alright, shut that down. And we are done for the night. I can go off and have a life now. Alright, well, thank you very much for being here, as usual. Thank you all for the commentary. No thanks to some people who just sit around and mock my work. Just kidding. Alright, you'll take care. I'll see you next time. Until then, catch you later.